Nacional Cervantino. This is the most important cultural festival in Latin America. Actually, last year in Spain, it was confessed by me by some Spaniards that they were jealous of us because we have the most important celebrations of Cervantes, which is the Spanish Shakespeare, in Mexico, not in Spain. And this festival attracts an amazing contact of cultural spectacles. This year is Canada, the invited country, and Guerrero as a state. So you have the opportunity to see in these 3 weeks of the festival in Guanajuato some of the top artists of the moment. So that's a festival that attracts a lot of people. Another one of our events is the Hot Air Balloon Festival that takes place in November.
Oh, that sounds like
Leon.
fun.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
I did see something about that too.
You probably found some of the photos.
Yes.
This happens in a park that is in the north part of the city of Leon, and there's a reservoir. There's a water reservoir. So you have this amazing effect of looking at the balloons on the sky, but also the reflection on the mirror on the water. So it's a phenomenal festival. Every night, the balloon rides are happening in the morning, very early when the sun is rising. During the day, there are concerts, music, people can eat and hang out. And at night, there's a high-end concert every night. Just for you to have an idea, last year, the last concert that happened on Sunday night, it attracted 110,000 people, just that concert. So we're used to big events and large events, and people from all over the world have traveled to our destinations to see these events.
Well, let's talk a little bit, since this is the Gaycation Travel Show, and I really want to sort of introduce
Guanajuato.
Guanajuato. So that you say a hard G in the beginning?
No, just think about Guanajuato.
Guanajuato. Guanajuato.
You see,
Guanajuato.
it's sort of there. I think it will stay.
Guanajuato. Okay, I will get it. Before the end of the show, I'll have it.
I'm sure you
Guanajuato. So, first of all, I read that Mexicans in general really don't care about traveler sexuality. It's not like it's like something that is hey, are you gay? Are you lesbian? It's not about that. That everyone is pretty much welcome. So tell me a little bit if a gay couple is going to travel to Guanajuato.
Eso.
And how would they feel? Would they feel welcome?
Absolutely. Guanajuato, although you might not be familiar with the area, it's a destination that has welcomed international travels for many years ago. We're very well connected, so we've been having international. Just to give you an idea, we have between 2,500 to 3,000 Japanese people living in the state because we're the state number one in production of cars. There are 800,000 cars assembled in Guanajuato every year. So you can imagine that we also have Pirelli because they have the tires for the car. So we have my neighbors. I have an Italian one. I have a Japanese one. I mean, it's very colorful. And I live in the capital city, not in the largest city, which is Leon. So we're really open to internationals, and we're really used to having people visiting. For us, as you know, as part of the Mexican culture, we're very proud of being able to show our home, our house, our destination, our community, our market, our whatever we have. So that surpasses any other, like we don't really see any other preferences.
I got to ask this question because I know the people that are listening to the show or that will hear this podcast are going to want to know. I've never heard of Guanajuato. Is it safe?
Absolutely.
It's in central Mexico, so, unless they go to the coast like Cancun or Puerto Vallarta, which they feel sort of culturally safe, I can almost hear the questions like, why would I go to the interior of Mexico as a
why
gay
would
traveler?
I venture outside of the tourist
the tourist thing?
Well, one of the reasons, first, one of the things is like, I would like to, let's talk about the world. I mean, you live in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I lived in this city for 11 years. And if you read the news, you are afraid of leaving your house. That's the truth. But we cannot live in fear. We cannot live in fear because otherwise you will not go to Brussels. You will not go to Paris. You will not go to some of the main destinations.
I will tell you, to that point, every time, almost every year, when we say we're going to Mexico for vacation, inevitably somebody says, oh, my God, all the drug cartels and this and that and the decapitations and this and that, right? I told them we were going to Guadalajara, and they sent me a link of there were 14 bodies that they found in Guadalajara. What they don't understand is that the world, and I say this, and this is one of the things with the Gaycation Travel Show that I really try to impart, is that people are people. 99% of the people are doing the things that you and I are doing. Exactly. We work, we shop, we worry about our kids.
Go to the supermarket.
We go to the supermarket. And there's always going to be an element of that. The south side of Chicago every week is murders.
Exactly.
Murders. There was like 11 people murdered in
a
one
weekend.
weekend during a holiday weekend. So, and here's the other thing, too, that I want to point out, and I want our listeners to really understand this because this is so important. Every time you see a headline about violence in a foreign country, you need to read the story. Because most of the time, not all, but most of the time, it is a tourist who is not respecting the culture, one, or they're out at 3 a.m. being drunk and disorderly or acting foolishly and flashing a lot of money.
I think if you read the news, I completely agree with all your points, TJ, but I also would like to mention that if you read the news, you get a sense that, it must be the wild, wild West Mexico.
Right.
First of all, Mexico is giant. Mexico is very big. So the first thing that you should be worried is like, where in Mexico? Okay, it's in this destination. Where in that destination? Because even in some of the incidents that happen in the Yucatan or Riviera Maya, they're not in the tourist areas.
No.
So you need to also like understand get your map right, get your surroundings. But something I like to tell you is that Guanajuato, it's ranked third in economy growth in the country. How can that happen if it was the Wild Wild West? That's impossible. Companies from all over the world have investments in Guanajuato. That would not have happened if there was a mess, if it was the Wild Wild West.
Listen, I'm gonna say this right off the bat. I've been going to Mexico for 20 years. I've never, not even once, had an incident where I felt unsafe or threatened in any way, shape, or form. And I want to say this to all of you LGBT travelers, especially our lesbian listeners, and I think lesbians in general, the feedback that we get are very fearful about operating outside of their comfort zone. That's a broad statement, but that's just my own feedback that we've received. And I'm saying Mexico has always been welcoming to us, very familial as far as, very family-oriented, very friendly, very open. We've never had any issues. And I bristle when they respond and repeat talking points that are on the news, like that Mexico is one big drug cartel.
I remember sometimes people will ask me things like, something happened in Mexico and I'm not going to go to Cancun. I live here in Chicago and I remember, what you're telling me is that you're going to cancel an event because something happened in Miami and your event is in New York. If you go with that information to your boss, they're going to tell you, this is a box, get out of here, because you have no idea of like where things are. It's the same thing with Mexico. So the first thing is to understand what things are happening and also, be smart. When you travel, you're more vulnerable because you don't have your whole support network. And so you have to be smart. You have to know where you're going. You don't have to be flashy. You have to be respectful because it's good practice anywhere in the world. Right. And it also makes you a good person.
It is something that we should, it's something that we should be aware of and we should be cognizant of, but not paralyzed by.
Absolutely.
So now I personally am excited to visit Guanajuato.
Eso.
I've been wanting to go to San Miguel de Allende.
De Allende,
how do I say that?
Allende.
Allende. So San Miguel Allende?
Uh-huh.
Okay, San Miguel Allende, because I've read all about that. But I want to check out Guanajuato because we've never been, and we like to explore. And so I'm going to put that on my bucket list.
Well, Guanajuato it's a destination. We have 6 million people living in Guanajuato. That's the population.
So it's a big city.
It's a big state.
We
have 6 million in the state. And what happens is that every destination is very close by. So we are the only state in Mexico that has 2 World Heritage cities.
So what is Guanajuato? What is it known for?
Many things. We'll start for León being the leather and shoemaking capital of Mexico. So when you think about packing, pack light on shoes because you're going to want to buy a lot of shoes and a lot of leather goods in that area.
What is that that I bought one time? Huarache?
Well, here is a bit more, it's manufacturing. So you have from ateliers that they can do measure your feet and make you shoes that fit like a glove, to like big factories where you can find fantastic prices. So that's something that is very like people
so don't
think
pack
about
your
Guanajuato.
shoes when
don't
you go
pack,
to...
just bring one pair and you will get the rest over there. And also leather goods. You can find fantastic purses and like portfolios and things like that made out of leather at great prices and really good quality. Another thing that is very famous in Mexico, have you heard of Jose Alfredo Jimenez? Probably you have seen El Rey. in one of your trips to Mexico, when you listen to a mariachi, you probably have heard many of his songs because this is the most important composer of Mexican folkloric music. And he was born in Dolores.
Wow. By the way, I think I told you, I'm the president of the National Equality Media Association, and our conference is in Puerto Vallarta this year at the end of the month from the 27th through the 30th, and I arranged to have a 12-element mariachi as our opening ceremony.
How
now
fun.
I'm going to listen, especially.
When you see the mariachi, ask them to play El Rey.
El Rey?
And this is an amazing song. If you go for the lyrics, it says, I know I'm not doing very good right now, but regardless, I am the king. So it's a fantastic way to approach life, no? So Jose Alfredo Jimenez was born in Dolores. Jose Alfredo, like I told you, he has hundreds of folkloric music. So when you listen to mariachi, most likely you listen to many of his songs. And he has a house. I mean, he passed away many years ago. But the home that he used to live is in Dolores. And now it's a museum. And you can visit and see where these fantastic, like if you were going to Cole Porter's home or something. I mean, it's a very important contributor to Mexican culture. And it's right there. And it's from Guanajuato.
Let me ask you, we're coming up on a break. But before we go, I want to ask, what is the best time if I wanted to go to Guanajuato? What would be the best time of year to go?
You can go year-round. Guanajuato has fantastic weather. We have semi-desertic weather, so really the rainy season is the summer, and we usually have these rains that last an hour. It's a good shower, and then it's gone. So in terms weather-wise, you can go any time during the year. It's a matter of like when you have the time, and also if you want to do it when there's an event happening in the state. We have a calendar of events of more than 100 events along the year, but there are also these events that I was mentioning to you that are a great opportunity to go and see one of the largest hot air balloons in the world, for example, in León.
When does that happen?
That's in November. It's going to be the 15th to the 17th in November in León, Guanajuato.
I am going to make a note of that because I want to check that out. So we're going to take a little bit of a break here, and then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about one of my new favorite places on my bucket list is Guanajuato, and of course my delightful and very easy to chat with guest Teresa.
Thank you, DJ.
All right, so we'll be right back. You're listening to the Gaycation Travel Show. This episode of the DJ Doran Show is brought to you by our friends at Joe Eats World, featuring Chef Joe Morales as he eats and drinks his way through life, sharing recipes, dining experiences, and cooking tips. Be sure to follow him at joeeatsworld.com and on his Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Well, we're back, and we're speaking with the Minister of Tourism, Teresa Matamoros. I did that pretty well.
Very good.
Who's been my very special guest on the Gaycation Travel Show, and we're talking about an off-the-beaten-path destination that is not on the normal radar of most LGBTQ travel planners, and that is Guanajuato, the state of Guanajuato, Mexico. It's in the central part of Mexico. About a little northwest of Mexico City.
Correct.
And so let's talk about the three cities. So there's the Guanajuato is the state, and then there's the capital city of Guanajuato.
Exactly.
And then there's San Miguel
de
Allende, and then León. So I heard about San Miguel, right? So of course it looks so beautiful. And I mean, every time I look at the pictures, I always tell Joe. By the way, my husband Joe is half Mexican, and I swear to God, every time we go to Mexico, like he never wants to leave Chicago. He loves Chicago. Everything is great. But every time we go to Mexico, I'm never leaving. I want to stay here.
Exactly.
So I said, you're going to stay there? He goes, no, I won't. Not this time. We're there 2 days, and that's what he says because it's first of all, for people that don't travel to Mexico, food is a big deal, right? And so Joe is a chef, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is I find the Mexican people so warm and hospitable. And, I just, in today's world, not to segue off too much, but in today's world where everything is so crazy.
I agree with you.
I love to go there because it's like taking a step back to when families had respect for their elders, and I'm getting to be one of those. But family have respect for elders and the family unit and all of that. Like I didn't tell you this, but we went to Denver recently for a friend's wedding, and Joe has a lot of family there.
Okay.
And on his father's side, traditional Mexicans, we went there. The first thing they did, they hug you and talk and, sit down. We were having a drink, and then they cook. And that's all they do is cook.
You end up eating 3, 4, 5 times a day.
So they're like, oh, here, have this DJ. Oh, have this DJ. Oh, have this DJ. Oh, have... And it's all in the kitchen all the time, right?
Yeah, that's part of the house.
Right, and I kind of grew up that way too, but nowadays everybody's on the fly. Nobody has conversations. Nobody really gets to know each other. I love that, and I'm telling you, our listeners, that I love that about the Mexican culture is that it is so warm and inviting, and I wish I could really impart that. And truthfully, I wish I could impart even our conversation today. I feel like I've known you 10 years.
Thank you, DJ. I think you touched on a very important point. I think nowadays we're so busy and so distracted with 100,000 things that are not that important, honestly. And I think Mexico, as a country, offers you that pace, that opportunity to pay attention to your surroundings, to look at someone that is taking care of you, maybe your waiter, look at him in the eyes.
Right.
And we don't do that anymore. And I think that's what travelers are wanting. We're eager to feel connected with others and with places and with sounds and with flavors.
With experience, this is the thing that, that we talked about earlier, and that is there are some travelers that just travel and they just want to eat and drink in a location and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But the listeners for the Gaycation Travel Show are more experiential. So we have our demographic, the people that listen to our show are in the 35 to 55 and up range. And so we're
super young.
They're still young. I mean, I'm 59. And so, but I'm just saying is the people that listen to our show, they want that experience and they have the financial ability to make sure they have it. And so, so I think that not everything has to be what party is happening or event. Sometimes it's just, I want to experience the culture.
Exactly.
When Joe and I travel, we don't hang off of each other and make a fool of ourselves with public displays of affection. I wouldn't do that if I was married and I had a wife. It's just not our
style.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go to a foreign country, we act respectful. And we don't hide the fact that we're married, Joe and I, because we don't have to.
Claro.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But we do have respect for their local culture. And, of course, I read that Guanajuato is like 96% Catholic. The Catholic Church is very prevalent. Well, I grew up in the Catholic Church.
Like in Mexico. That's like
all of
for
Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And so, that's where I think that I hope that we impart to our listeners that when you travel internationally, whether it's Mexico or any other country, that you can't just take the glaring freedoms that we have here and smash your guest country in the face. You just have to be aware of the culture and be respectful. And you'll find that they'll be very welcoming. I think most of the time whenever I've traveled around the world, and I've traveled a lot, I've always found that most people didn't really care.
Exactly.
Because we respected their culture. We don't take our culture and to their country. When we go to their country, we are the guest.
I think you just have to follow common sense, honestly. Because, for example, if I'm invited to your home, let's say, for the first time, right? And I show up with my boyfriend or the guy that I'm dating or whatever. And I sit up on your living room and I start kissing him, French kissing him. You make you feel uncomfortable. Not because of because
that's a whole
it's
other
just
show,
kind of
Teresa.
Weird, right? So I guess it's just, be respectful that you're in a new area and you just...
Absolutely.
And we don't care. I mean, we have to remember that we're humans and we are all here experiencing this world with whatever we want. And that's what should be the important part. No?
I agree. I totally agree. So which brings me to a couple of other questions I want to ask. First of all,
you were telling me about San Miguel. Can
yeah,
I tell
San
you
Miguel.
something about San Miguel?
Yeah, San Miguel.
San Miguel de Allende has been getting a lot of attention, and there are many reasons for it. You said that when you look at pictures, you're like, oh my God, that looks great. Well, a lot of people get that same feeling, and it's the #1 destination for weddings outside of the beach resorts in Mexico. In San Miguel, there are about over 800 weddings a year.
Wow.
So you can do the math on every Saturday. It's pretty busy with lovers getting married.
Let me ask you this is a great question. So the fastest segment of LGBT travel is weddings.
Destination weddings.
So tell me what would happen if, let's say, Joe and I got married this year, but we just did a civil ceremony, and then we're going to have a reception at a later date when everybody can be available.
Okay,
Let's say we wanted to have our reception in San Miguel.
Well, you will find in San Miguel, first of all, you have a ton of amazing, really well-experienced wedding planners. Because when you're doing a destination wedding, you need to have somebody local.
Let me interrupt you here for 1 second. That I assume. What my question is, and if I can be so bold, is first of all, can we have our reception there?
Absolutely.
And would we have any obstacles if we decided to do that? Because you just planted a seed in my head, and I'm thinking that
you should do your party over there.
Absolutely. And I'm going to send you an invitation, and I expect you to be there.
No, I think you will find. I think the main problem you will have when organizing your wedding in San Miguel is to decide where to do it, because there are so many amazing venues. You can have terraces. The city is full of amazing terraces where you overlook this beautiful town that is like come out from a book. You have haciendas. You have amazing restaurants with chefs. So
okay, sold. We're moving there.
Good. Get on the truck.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, I am totally having, and I'm sure the people that are going to listen to the show, I am completely having a vision of this in my mind. And if the city is anything as friendly and warm and welcoming as you have been on the show, it's absolutely stunning. I want to encourage people to think outside the box. I mean, everyone goes to Puerto Vallarta or Cancun, right? But there are so many other beautiful places within the country of Mexico that are worth exploring that we can explore.
It's easy to get to.
And it's easy to get to. So that was going to be my other question. How do we get there?
You touch on a very important point. I wanna go deep into this. Mexico is the number one international destinations for Americans. The number one country that they travel outside the U.S. is Mexico. And people have been traveling to Mexico for many years. And I promoted Mexico for over 10 years in the U.S. and internationally. And it was a question like, okay, I have been to Cancun, I have been to Los Cabos, I have been to Vallarta. Where else? Where is that other Mexico? That's exactly what Guanajuato is. It's that other Mexico that people are dying to see, that they have seen a picture and they're like, that looks stunning. How do I get there? Well, in terms of connectivity, for example, we have 9 flights from our international airport. We have 9 flights from the U.S. So that's
what is the main carrier? Is it Aeromexico?
No, we have Aeromexico, we have United, we have American Airlines, and we also have Volaris and
Volaris, that's who we're taking this year. We normally take Aeromexico.
We have 8 different airlines flying into our airport. 9 destinations from the U.S. Chicago, from the West Coast, we have Chicago, San Jose, and Oakland, California.
So let me ask you, so from Chicago, we can fly directly to Guanajuato?
Absolutely, yeah. There's non-stop flights.
Guanajuato.
From Houston, there are 4 flights directly every day from Houston. You have flights from Dallas, we have flights from Atlanta, we have flights from Detroit. So connectivity is really good. Actually, our connectivity, we did the math. We are one stopover from 65% of the world capitals. So flying into Guanajuato, it's very, very easy. The airport is also centrally located in the state. If you fly into the Bajío airport, it's BGX, you will be in about 30 minutes into León. You will be in 25 minutes in Guanajuato. And don't forget to stop over for coffee at my house. And you will be about an hour.
Don't be surprised if I'm standing at your door.
About an hour from San Miguel. So, I mean, from here in Chicago to O'Hare, you do a good hour. You always plan a good hour to travel to the airport. So the connectivity is very easy. And like I said, I mean, nonstop is always fantastic because that makes you get there and start enjoying your time sooner. No?
Right. So this is another question. Where would someone go who has no idea about Guanajuato? Where would I go to find out information about hotels, where to stay? Do you have?
We have a great webpage.
A webpage.
I think that's
what is that?
It's Guanajuato.mx, and it has all the tourist information that we have in terms of offer, what to see, what to do. But if you allow me, I will tell you that a good way to start it will be if you want to do a weekend, definitely do it either San Miguel or Guanajuato City. But I think an ideal first sort of sampler of what Guanajuato has to do, it's a good week. You really can spend 3 nights in Guanajuato capital. The city has so many museums, and it's just walking in that city. It's such a joy. The way the light hits the buildings, the colors. When I show the picture, and I'm going to leave you some pictures here. When I show the pictures of the city, people go like, is that downtown? No, that is the whole city. You can see this amazing, dreamlike city that people will love to just spend time over there. After that, you can do San Miguel. That's about an hour and 15 minutes from Guanajuato. So very short drive. You're in San Miguel. In San Miguel, you have fantastic spas. Like if you're into wellness and all that, there are a ton of options. Great design and high-end shopping. I know a lot of people appreciate that. And you can find these amazing designers that are doing, I don't know, jewelry. And these are, or something with fabrics. And
let me ask you a question about that, about San Miguel, especially is how many hotel rooms are in San Miguel, and what is the average occupancy?
I don't remember the amount of rooms we have in San Miguel. In the whole state, we have over 32,000. But in San Miguel, you have a really broad arrangement of boutique hotels. You have to understand that these are cities that have been protected by the UNESCO. So you cannot build a Hyatt box on the center of the city. That's not possible. So most of the hotels that you find are casonas or haciendas that have been rebuilt. Although I have to mention, for example, Rosewood San Miguel. You are familiar with Rosewood. This hotel, it's been on the nomination for the best hotel in the world for the Condé Nast Travelers. This has never happened with a Mexican hotel in the past. And that hotel is to die for. Of course, it's high-end. You will find rates that probably you will find here in Chicago when I was
really?
But for a room that it's really, you can see the money that you're paying, right?
What do you think is an average room rate in
I think in San Miguel it will be something between $250 and above.
Okay.
Up to like 1,000 if you want to.
Wow.
There's also another hotel that is getting a lot of attention, and it's shaking the whole concept of the hotels in San Miguel. Recently, there's Live Aqua. You have probably seen the one in Cancun, and they have one in Monterrey and one in Mexico City. This whole concept of like chic modern, but with the flavor of San Miguel. They built this amazing hotel. This has over 100 rooms, and they have really good space also for events, for social events, or for facilities, or people that are bringing a business event to the city. So you have from, let's say, a casona that has been completely refurbished, like and converted into a hotel that maybe has 6-7 rooms, for example, no-name hotel. It's amazing. They found this casona that belonged to an American artist, and then a Mexican woman bought it and reshape it, and they make this amazing hotel. For example, one of the rooms, when they were doing the remodeling, they found there was a tunnel that connected the house with some of the churches, because that was very common back in the days. And they have that opening with everything they found, like little dishes and things they found from old times, and they cover it with crystal. So you're in your room and you can see the basement from there.
Wow.
So, for example, something that unique and that special.
That is unique.
They also have these amazing murals. So you have these special hotels that you will be happy to pay these rates, because they're really worth your money. And the service, of course, if you're staying in a small property, they get to know your name.
Yes,
they get to know how you drink your coffee by the second day.
Absolutely.
And that's just a great feeling that you feel at home.
That is absolutely amazing. I mean, you've really sort of explained to me the reason why anyone, let alone an LGBTQ traveler, would want to visit Guanajuato is just first of all, Guanajuato is known for its history, especially as it pertains to the like we were talking about, the independence, and then the architecture. Some of the photos I've seen, first of all, in Guanajuato, the capital city, and in San Miguel, the buildings are stunning.
We have some of the best example of Baroque architecture in Mexico, which is super adorned, and they made this in stone, in cantera. I mean, you can do that in wood, and it's an easier element to work with. Another area that is nearby San Miguel, it's the sanctuary of Atotonilco. And this is, a church. You will think another church. No. When you enter this place,
is that the one that's mustard color?
It's no, that's not mustard. It's white, I believe, outside. But inside, the mural is the Mexican Sixteen Chapel. This gentleman, the painter that did this, the whole church is hand painted, And the whole painting is one message, and he explores the life and conception of Christ from San Ignacio de Loyola, which was the founder of the Jesuits. So imagine walking that church with a tour guide that tells you every single part of this mural that it becomes alive. This is the Mexican Sixtine Chapel, and it's just right outside San Miguel, about 15 minutes in the car.
Wow.
So people that are looking into culture, into content, into something that moves you, I think, I don't know about you, DJ, but I wake up every day and I want to feel alive. I want to feel that it's worth my day.
Yes.
Not that I produce something. Yeah, of course do. But I want to feel alive. And you will find a ton of those moments when you're walking in the different cities of Guanajuato.
See, that's one of the things. We're sitting in my studio, and my studio is facing Lake Michigan. It's a beautiful view of the lake. So this leather chair that you're seeing right here, it's broken in. Joe has always been trying to get me to throw it away because I've had it. But I sit here, I have my coffee, and I watch the sunrise. And I'm telling you today, I think as I've gotten older, especially, I am more tuned into the experience and the element of living life.
That's all that matters.
And travel does that for me. Travel inspires me. Travel helps me realize that we're more than just worker bees.
Exactly.
And, so Mexico always has a special place in my heart for two reasons. One is we go there so often, I feel like it's my adopted country. And second of all, because Joe is half Mexican, his culture is there. And when he goes there, he comes alive. And his father.
You see a different version of Joe.
I see a different version. And we go, his parents, their 50th wedding anniversary is
cool.
During the Dia de los Muertos.
So the end of October.
Yeah, that's why we go.
So cool.
And so when his father goes there, he's 80-something now.
Mm-hmm.
He just comes, he just among his people, among his history, his son is there. It's just I get all emotional. I'm thinking about it because it is a very, very special time. And so no matter how busy I am with all of the things that I do, we always make the time to go because his father is 80-something years old, and these moments are not going to be forever.
Exactly.
And we just realized that the fragility of life. A very good friend of ours passed away suddenly last week.
And it shakes you.
Yeah, it shakes me. I spoke to him that day, and he passed away the next day.
Oh, my God.
And he was older. He was, I'd say, in his early 70s.
But in no way you were expecting
he was not
ready
sick.
for anything.
He wasn't sick or anything.
And that's life. That's life, DJ. We just are busy, and we create this illusion that we sort of control our world, but it's not like that. So we need to make space to go out, to connect, to see the world, because that's what matters.
See, to me, Teresa, when I travel, the destination is great, but it's the people. See, meeting you here is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. There's a beautiful view of the lake, but meeting you and connecting with you on a personal level is what will make this show and is making this show special. When you come into my home where our studio is, we have coffee and we talk and we laugh.
And
that's the connection. Exactly. That's the connection. And so that's important to our listeners. Now I want to touch on a question that is probably a little bit difficult, but I think it's something that we should discuss through. And that is, what is the Department of Tourism for Guanajuato doing, if anything, specifically to attract LGBT tourism? Because LGBT tourism, and I'll give you some facts here. Mm-hmm. We just came from a conference in San Francisco. $4 billion travel. It's a $9 billion economic impact, the LGBT consumer, right? Mm-hmm. But $4 billion of that is for travel specifically. They go to places that they feel safe and welcome. Once they find a place that they feel safe and welcome, they repeat and go there. They pay a premium. Yeah. And when they go to a destination, of course, there's a segment that drinks and parties, but most of our listeners go to a destination, they spend.
Exactly.
They spend money on dinner and on whatever that experiential thing that they're looking for. So it's good business to market to the LGBT travel community. And by the way, this is a statistic that continues to be borne out in our surveys, and that is the LGBT consumer wants to feel targeted, and they respond. So they also have a high use of social media. They check your social media. They check your webpage. They check out, they use the technology. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of old school. I was telling my daughter a while back, I said, I think I've mastered Facebook. right? She goes, Dad, Facebook is for old people.
Yesterday.
You have to use Snapchat. And she sent me a Snapchat and the app, and I still today said don't know how to use it. It's something you make videos and they disappear in a certain amount of time.
And you wonder, why do I want to do that?
Yes. So, but the point I'm making is the key word, and this is another word that we're going to be speaking at the conference about, and that is authenticity. So everybody wants the pink dollar, as they call it, but savvy travelers, and most LGBT travelers are savvy because they go and they search. Mm-hmm. And so they'll look to say, well, what are they doing? It doesn't mean that you have to pander, but they want to know that if I go to this destination, we're going to feel welcome. And what is the official Department of Tourism doing to make us feel that way?
I think in terms of when you're trying to go into the marketplace, the first thing you have to do is to teach people about your product, right? We're very new in the U.S. market. So by now, we're just sort of wanting to have a presence in the marketplace. After that, I would like to be able to create a special strategies and special products for different markets. And for sure, the LGBT travelers are very important. But right now, our approach is mainly like to get awareness of our product, no? So people that are like, okay, we've been to the resorts, now where else? Well, the other Mexico is Guanajuato. And definitely people from the community can be sure that they will feel at home in Guanajuato because there's small areas where people appreciate the visitors. But we will definitely think about it. I mean, to do something particular, maybe an event or something, because Guanajuato is well known for events, and maybe something like that will be...
I have a great idea.
Tell me.
To help you.
I want to hear.
So, Gaycation Magazine is a glossy magazine. Comes out 6 times a year. It's the number 2 LGBTQ travel magazine in the United States. I would love the opportunity to work with you to help write content occasionally about the state of Guanajuato and all of the other things. Not advertising. That could come at a later date, but help use that magazine as a platform to talk about these different things. Now,
I love it.
And then you can get your message out, and then we can talk about that as well.
I love it. And I think, we need these ambassadors in different areas. And, of course, you're a great ambassador from the community. And we love because you have an approach to the destination that you're like, oh, I know what we pay attention to. And you will be able to give us that feedback and create a product that is more friendly and more likable for the community.
Well,
so
and
I
think the other part too today is that our readers, they look to Gaycation Magazine. See, some travel magazines, they show all these 20-year-olds with 0% body fat, and 6-packs. I have a keg more than a 6-pack.
Real.
Yeah, no. But our readers, they want to know the practical side. Like, here's an example. If I check into a hotel in San Miguel with my husband of 17 years, and we say we want a king-size bed.
Will you get the eyes looking into the sky?
That is what they want to know.
Claro.
That's what they want to know because that is when you're there, it's too late.
Claro. I think particularly in San Miguel, we've been doing some of the, sensibilizaciones, I don't know how to say, like to make them understand that not everybody is what you think, and this always doesn't hurt to ask. And particularly in San Miguel, they've been doing a lot of those trainings for the hoteliers and so people don't assume, no? And also with women, I mean, this is a world that is full of colors. So why?
That's true. But do you understand that for us?
Absolutely.
It is a
You don't
concern.
want to be explaining. You don't want to have to explain or
right
go to
there.
your room and realize like, okay.
Yeah, we have 2 queen-size beds. Do you see what I mean? Because right away that sets the tone for the experience. And I'm telling you that because that happened to Joe and I one time. And I got mad and I was like, that is none of your business.
Exactly.
I'm paying for the room.
And this is the room that I want.
And this is the room that I want. So, but I'm just telling you, that's one of the nuances.
Claro.
And this is part of why I love talking to people about gay travel is because I hate to say the term, that's probably not the right term. Heterosexual travel, when you check in with your boyfriend or whomever.
They will assume.
They just,
claro.
You're right. And so they just make, and it doesn't raise an eyebrow. But we check in with my husband. And by the way, you didn't know this, but we have a daughter. And we have 2 grandchildren.
You guys are a family.
We have a family. So when we check in, we're sophisticated travelers. if that is the beginning of my experience, that is setting the tone of my
course.
experience.
Right there, you're like,
And so I'm just curious if the Department of Tourism is sensitive to that, and if there's any policy or anything that they are aware of that they're trying to do to make sure that, because you don't have to specifically right away, I think, do anything for LGBT tourism, but one thing that they will notice is if they go there and they feel that at the beginning it's going to taint their whole experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have a point. I think what they have done in San Miguel, particularly for the hotels, is basically said, don't assume. Ask questions, don't assume. And because also on the other side, like, why if I go with a friend and we don't be in the same bed? We want maybe it's a man. I mean, just make sure that people understand that have that sensibility. I agree with you. They have done several workshops, and the hoteliers are pretty well prepared to receive travelers from all over the world. And don't assume.
Good. All right, we're coming up on the last segment. We're going to take a hard break, and when we come back, some final thoughts about Guanajuato and San Miguel and Leon. I said it all three.
Yeah,
all three right.
You're becoming good.
I'm telling you, unbelievable. And now I'm also wondering how the rest of your people are doing with Joe out there. It's awfully quiet.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back. You're listening to the Gaycation Travel Show. Don't go anywhere. We're talking to the Minister of Tourism for Guanajuato, Teresa Matamoros.
Yeah.
I did that right. All right, we'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're back. You're listening to the Gaycation Travel Show, and I have a super special guest, Teresa Matamoros. I didn't even have to look at your card this time.
I'm telling
you. Teresa is the Minister of Tourism for my new favorite bucket list destination, Guanajuato. The state of Guanajuato, which has
Guanajuato City.
Guanajuato City. San Miguel de Allende and Leon.
Exactly.
And some of the things that we talked about just really excite me about visiting there. I'm so excited to try something new because we've gone to the same places. And remember I told you earlier in the show, I said, LGBT travelers go to the same places over and over again. Joe and I are
victims of this.
We go to the same places. Now, I will tell you that we prefer Puerto Vallarta over Cancun because Cancun is too. I think it lost a lot of its Mexican culture. I like Isla Mujeres much better.
Isla's beautiful.
And I love to go to
Riviera Maya.
Yeah, to Chichen Itza, Ixtapa, Tulum. I like those areas. But Cancun is lost its appeal to me.
I love Cancun because it's the Caribbean in one flight and you don't have to be island hopping.
Yes, the water is so different.
Exactly. You get the Caribbean. So I will always defend Cancun. I think, I think travelers want to see what else. But also, I think thinking from a destination like Chicago, I know people listen to your show from everywhere in the U.S., but destinations that are cold, I used to criticize when I was in Mexico. I cannot understand somebody will come and stay 3 days in a all-inclusive hotel and don't leave the hotel. But when you're freezing for 4 months, you're ready to just thaw and hit the beach. And something that you can do if you choose to just get out of the cold weather, you can do a combo. We have nonstop flight from Bajío to Los Cabos and to Cancun. So you can do
from Guanajuato?
From our airport. So you can do a combo vacation where you can do. I love the beach, but after 3 days, I'm like, okay, I'm getting bored. I cannot spend 8 more hours by the sun. So you can do that. You can visit Cancun and then fly nonstop to Bajío or Los Cabos. That's also
I must
beautiful.
tell you this, that when we go to Mexico, I swim in the ocean. I love the ocean.
Yeah, me too.
Joe, not so much.
He's a pool person.
Pool. So,
he likes to see the ocean.
And he doesn't like all the animals in the ocean. Like we went, we were somewhere and he saw all these fishes. And, of course, I dove in to go snorkeling with the fishes and everything. He's like, absolutely not.
I'm not doing that.
Not doing that. I think it was at Yalapa.
Okay.
Yalapa.
Yeah, it's very pretty there.
Yes. And so So as long as the hotels in San Miguel or Leon or Guanajuato have pools,
he'll be fine. Yeah, he will find lots of pool in the area.
He'll be fine. So last thought. What would you want to say to LGBT travelers that are considering new and different places to travel in Mexico?
Well, definitely that Guanajuato is an option for them. It's a state that has a soul. Not only you will come back, not only maybe with a tan, with good shopping and things to put in your decor in your place, but also with an experience that you also will remember moments that move you, but also with bragging rights. Because you can say, you know what? I was in the town where the independence of Mexico was planned.
That's
you know
awesome.
what? I was in the city that's been declared World Heritage. And we also like that. I don't know about you, but I also like bragging, right? And to say, you know what? I had this meal in a hotel in San Miguel, and they gave me this special root. And they make me bite into it. And at first I start feeling a tingling in my tongue. And I learned that they use this root to when they had toothache, like back the old Mexicans, they use it. And after they gave me that tiny piece, I started feeling that, and then I sipped again in my beer, and that was the best beer of my life, because that root called chilcuague has that effect. And that's the kind of moments that we want people to come back and say. And also something really cool that we didn't mention is that for people that are into food and wine, we have 5 routes of wine in Guanajuato. We're the 3rd state in production of wine. And you have 30 wineries that you can visit. So if you're in Leon, you have 2 wineries nearby.
You already sold Joe on that.
Yeah, we have to make him go. And I will take you guys because I'm also crazy about wine. And this is also an experience that complements, your visit to some of the main of the main destinations. We didn't touch on all the pueblos mágicos. In Mexico, there's been a program that recognizes these special towns that have a particular flavor, a particular value. We have 6 of them in Guanajuato. Dolores is one of them. And I'm not going to give you the names because people are just going to forget them. But also something that you can do as a day tour when you're staying in San Miguel. You have 3 of them. If you're staying in Leon, you can go to 2 of them. So that's also something that complements your stay. And something that I want people to remember is that they're not just pretty cities, but there's plenty of things to do. We have over 62, for example, eco and nature adventure experiences in the state. In 14 municipalities, people can do different things, like if they want to do horseback riding or going to mountain biking, they want to stay more active.
And this all can be found on your website?
Absolutely.
Before you finish, let's tell our listeners what the website is again.
Guanajuato.mx, like in Mexico, no? Guanajuato.mx. And we're also launching really, really soon, maybe in a couple of weeks, a new app. That's so you can have Guanajuato at the rise of your hand, and people will start thinking about going there.
Very 21st century.
Of course, we have to. Well, I don't know about you. I live with my phone stick to my hand. So,
I know.
But I also want to be distracted and feel connected with the rest.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Teresa, it was such a pleasure to have you as my guest on this show. I've learned so much about a part of Mexico that I never really thought about. And I told you when we were first starting out, I've never even heard of Guanajuato, and I wasn't aware of it. I heard of San Miguel, but I didn't understand the relationship. But now I do, and now I am so excited to take a trip there and to do that, to go to Guanajuato and then take another trip to San Miguel and then to Leon and explore that for myself and look for future retirement places
or venue for the reception that is still on the books.
That's right. I know. We defaulted and we assumed that we were going to have it in Puerto Vallarta because we are so familiar. But I really want to check out these other places and see that. Now, don't be surprised, Teresa, if one day you hear a knock at the door and it's me and Joe. I'm here for the coffee.
There's always coffee, but there's always wine, mezcal from Guanajuato, and tequila from Guanajuato waiting for friends. So
oh my gosh, that'd be perfect. All right, so it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, DJ.
And for everyone, you've been listening to the Gaycation Travel Show. Hopefully, you'll tune in and check out the website. Guanajuato.mex, M-E-X, so you can see what's happening.
Only MX.
Oh, MX, not M-E-X. So Guanajuato.mx, and you can see what's going on there. Again, until next time, you've been listening to the Gaycation Travel Show. This is DJ Doran. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, DJ.